So I haven't done a desk setup video in well over a year because not much has changed. I've been pretty happy with the home office and it serves me really well. But as you can see behind me, I've got a whole new setup and I think this is finally it. I think this is probably the end game for me. Just like most of you watching, I spend most of my work days at a desk, so fine-tuning this space is really important. And this corner of the home office always felt a little bit empty. So I thought, hey, I've been meaning to build a small form factor PC for hybrid work and gaming. So I did exactly that in this corner. And there's quite a few things in this setup I actually wish I found and used earlier. So let me show you around, starting with the desk.
So this is Secretlab's Magnus desk, and no, this segment isn't sponsored by Secretlab. Actually, this video isn't sponsored by any brand at all. Every single item in this setup that you see, I've picked myself. I've just yet to find a desk better than the Magnus in terms of build quality and versatile design after testing stacks and stacks of desks. It has this all metal construction that feels rock solid with zero wobble. And because it's metal, it's also magnetic, so you can shift and snap on accessories like cable anchors, headphone hooks, monitor arms, stuff like that. And it genuinely has the best power outlet and cable management with the enclosed cable tray and single cable that feeds power to everything. And the flash panel here controls the usual sit stand functionality, which I do actually still use to switch it up every now and then. I put it into stand mode when I've come back from a tennis session or the gym, and I don't want to immediately sit down.
You can see that I've gone for an all white theme, something that I wouldn't normally do, but I wanted this corner to be super clean, super minimal, with the pop of color coming from whatever I'm doing on this monitor. And yeah, I think I like this over all my previous builds. And also the ash gray desk mat here gives it a bit of texture. It's a suede leather magnetic mat that snaps onto the desk, but because it's suede, it leaves marks everywhere. So I recommend the standard leather mat if you can't stand a marked up desk. But personally, I like the texture. I think it feels cozy.
The centerpiece on the desk is this SFF PC Build, and I am kicking myself for not building this earlier. The case is the Fractal Terror, and when I first saw it, I was like, yep, this is the case I want to build in. The sleek anodized aluminium, panel cutouts, and front wood plate give Apple Cross Grove made. It's something that I find myself constantly looking at and appreciating whenever I sit down at this desk. But because of the form factor, it does have hardware limitations. You can't just cram the fastest GPU and CPU in and call it a day without some serious adjustments. So after days of research and compatibility checks, I've settled on an RTX 5080 AMD 7800 X3D running on a Strix B650i motherboard and Corsair SF 1000 watt power supply. And this build is frankly far better than I expected. So we've got Cyberpunk here running at full 4K, almost everything maxed with ray tracing and path tracing on, noting that DLSS is on, and with the 5080 pulling 98 watts, we're getting a consistent 100 frames per second with GPU temps at about 65 degrees.
I mean, that's pretty insane to me when this is all running in a case less than half the size of my previous Fractal Define 7 build. The fan noise is noticeable when it's under load, but as you can tell right now, it is whisper quiet when it's not under load. And look, I don't want to yap on about this too much, about the rest of the build, but yeah, I am really happy with it, and I might make a separate video on it if that's something you guys want to see.
Next up in the desk setup is possibly the most insane OLED monitor I've ever used. With the press of a button, this monitor can switch between 4K to 40Hz and 1080p 480Hz, and it's every bit as insane as it sounds. It's the dream monitor for a hybrid setup, especially when it's floating on a monitor arm. I can get editing work done on a pixel-dense 32-inch OLED monitor and switch over to 480Hz mode to get that competitive edge in esports games. And when you experience 480Hz gaming, it's hard to go back. You can actually see and feel the difference. As long as the game can run up to 480 frames a second, the smoothness is unmatched. And the OLED panel doesn't sacrifice image quality for performance either. You can still get deep blacks, vibrant colors, and near instant pixel response at 0.03 milliseconds, so less motion blur and clearer visuals.
The onboard monitor speakers are seriously lacking, but it's personally a non-issue. I'm using a headset on this setup like 90% of the time. But yeah, I got this monitor on discount at roughly $900, which isn't exactly cheap, but it's arguably great value for what is practically 2 monitors in one. If that discounted deal is still running, I'll link it down below in the description for those of you who want to check out this monitor.
In terms of peripherals, this keyboard has been on my wish list for a long time, the Wooting 60HE. This keyboard's Hall effect sensor is just so sharp, so responsive that it measures granular weight and actuation almost like a joystick. You can walk or run in-game based on how lightly or firmly you press a single key, not just full on or off like a traditional keyboard. It gives you a silly amount of precision, and in sweaty competitive shooters like Counter-Strike 2 or Valorant, fine-tuning actuation points per key is a game changer because keys trigger at the lightest touch. There's a reason why the rapid trigger feature of this keyboard is restricted in certain esports tournaments. It's really that good. I built this in the Alume 60 case in concrete grey with Geon Raw HE switches and the double shot keycaps in just white. This build looks and feels absolutely rock solid, and these half open bottom switches have got to be my favorite switches for this setup. And if this keyboard wasn't already cool enough, everything is customizable right on a browser, which is so convenient. I've also used Optimum's profile settings as a base and tweaked them slightly, and this feels just right for me.
I mean, even for daily use, it just feels insanely smooth and futuristic. It is costly, but it's one of those peripherals you don't realize you've been missing until you use it. And then there's just no going back. I've also got a DualSense controller on this stand here that I pair up to DS4 Windows for when I want to just kick back and wind down with a more casual game.
I'm still rocking the Death Adder V3 Pro. It's really nice to use for editing, work, and gaming. It's slightly on the larger side of mice, but it's comfortable with a palm grip and tracking is great. It also matches the all-white setup theme too. I am rotating in the Pulsar X3 Mini, which isn't as ergonomic for long use, but I prefer this for gaming, especially in the claw grip. It's ultralight and the shape makes it easy to lock in for aim trainers or competitive shooters. It just feels faster when it comes to flicks and precision shots. It's not my go-to for productivity, but for fast-paced competitive play, the X3 Mini has been a pretty decent upgrade in speed and responsiveness.
That said, this is actually my second X3 Mini. The first one that I got worked for about a day until it bugged out and literally just stopped working. Thankfully, the shop I got it from replaced it right away. Osmod shop, if you're wondering. But yeah, not a great first experience with the Pulsar. So I am enjoying the mouse now, but it's hard to personally recommend because of the fault that I experienced.
What is easier to recommend is my new mouse pad. This is the SP004 from Warhack. It's a Glasspad that looks super clean and white and has a really smooth glide. It's hard to describe how it feels, but it gives me this sort of frictionless movement without losing control. The build quality is fantastic, solid, premium, and easy to keep clean. A quick wipe down and it looks brand new again. And yeah, this has quickly become one of my favorite additions to the desk. If you're aiming for speed, precision, and a clean aesthetic, this one's hard to beat, but it is larger than I thought, so just make sure you have the desk space for it. And speaking of desk space, there's a lot of space on this desk, but you might have noticed the lack of speakers, and that's because I exclusively use headphones in this setup. These are the Arctis Nova Pro. I just find that these are super comfortable to wear. They're light, breathable. I can wear these for hours when video editing, and the audio clarity is spot on, especially where directional sound is important like in Valorant. There's also a retractable microphone which is handy, and both the microphone and audio dynamics are heavily customizable in the SteelSeries GG software. There's even EQ presets for specific games to boost certain tones. I actually quite like it.
But yeah, I'll switch to the monitor's built-in speakers when I don't want to use the headphones, but these do keep the desk clutter-free, helps me stay focused, and the sound quality is just better for how I work and game. I don't have to worry about the room acoustics or disturbing anyone, plus no speaker wires or extra clutter, just plug in and go.
One of the bigger upgrades to my setup is this Herman Miller Embody Chair. I've always believed overpriced office chairs were just a money pit trap, But after using the Aeron chair, which I've loved using for years now, I totally understand and appreciate the investment. So I took the leap and went for the Embody. It's just as supportive and comfortable, but a lot more forgiving and relaxed than the Aeron. But the chair is a lot more structured than the average, which can take a bit of getting used to, especially if you're switching from something more cushioned. I also just love the look of the chair, from the sculpted backrest to the clean lines and the brand tag. It's got a lot more character than the average chair without looking too tacky.
If you're sitting for like 8+ hours a day and you care about long-term posture and back health, I think it makes sense to invest into a chair. But yeah, it's not a magic fix or the most padded thing ever. Just, I think, solid intentional design that should hold up for years to come.
And lastly, I've left up the frame photos on the wall so the space doesn't feel too white and blank. They are now blocked when I put the desk into standing position, but I'm happy to leave them there for now. I have been meaning to throw up an IKEA pegboard here on the empty side of the wall for quick access to extra peripherals and things like that, but I just haven't got around to it yet. I've also got a nano leaf strip light that runs underneath the Magnus desk, and it gives it that nice touch of color in an all white space. I love setting this on a warm tone at night for those late night sessions. It's pretty cozy. So there's very little I'd change with this setup right now. I'm really happy with how clean and distraction free it is. It's a place I actually want to spend time in and make work a lot more enjoyable. It's also the perfect complement to the other desk behind me. This desk is focused on my productivity workflow on the Mac Studio. You can check out the desk tour video on screen and drop the code word comment hybrid, and I'll give it a like for staying right until the end. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.